Hi there viewers, and in this video I'm going to do a tutorial on creating custom paint jobs in iRacing. So anybody who's watched my previous videos on the Ferrari will notice that I've got a custom paint job that you see here. So I want to explain how I create a paint job like that, and since I'm going to soon be racing the BMW car instead, I figured why not do a tutorial as I make the paint for the BMW car. So just jumping ahead, you can see here this is the paint job for the Ferrari that you just saw, and this is basically the end result that I want with the new BMW. So before we actually look at actually creating any paints, the first thing you need to know about is this thing called Trading Paints. Trading Paints is a tool that you have to download onto your computer, and that will ensure that you are able to see everybody else's paint job and they are able to see yours. As part of that, you have to upload your paint to Trading Paints and make sure you're running this tool when you're racing for the paint to be able to be downloaded. The first thing to do when you want to create a custom paint job is go into the iRacing page, find the customize car paint screen, which you can see here, and then you just need to find the car that you want to paint. So this is the default painting stuff that is in iRacing. It's not really to do with Trading Paints at all, and anybody who isn't using Trading Paints will be able to see your paint jobs customized in here. So we've picked the BMW that we want to paint. You can see the custom livery there that you can't actually redesign or paint, but you can see all these templates. So each one's got a different design on it, and you can apply your paint colors as you want, as you see there. So I'm just going to look through these quickly to try to find a rough paint scheme that I want as the basis for the rest of the paint job. Obviously they're a bit different, so I'm just going through them, and I kind of want one that's a bit like the Ferrari, although it is a bit different. So I found this one here, and I'm just switching the paint round so it matches roughly to what we had on the Ferrari. And in here also you can change the wheel colour, so I'll save all that, and if I take a note of which paint job this is, and then I'll download the template ready to actually edit it. So open the paint job in either Photoshop, or I think you can use GIMP, and you'll find a paint with lots of layers. As you can see here, this is the default skin for the BMW. We've got all the different sponsorship logos on there, a nice little custom paint job, but we don't really want any of this because we're going to completely customize it ourselves. So if you open the layers, you can see how different parts are on. So this one's quite useful for seeing the wireframe of the actual car. You can turn off and on the sponsorships, know where the number of the car will go, and basically see all the different layers that actually end up in the finished car. So the bit that we're most interested in is actually just below this, and if we expand this folder, it's all the different templates that you could base your car on. So by choosing the visibility off, you can see each one going through, and we're essentially looking for the one that we saw on the customized paint job page, that we kind of want to be our basis, and that's the one there that we like the look of. So now that I've only got that one selected, I'm just going to actually start filling in parts of this with my color scheme. So I've sped this up, but I'm basically copying the colors from my Ferrari paint skin over to this one, replacing the different bits and pieces. So as it goes through, you should notice that it starts to resemble more my Ferrari paint job and less the template. I'm sure there's probably a better way of doing this. Perhaps you could just do a color replace or something, but I'm just literally going through the fill tool, filling in each item. The one thing that you have to be careful with here is when you fill something in and it actually fills the whole page in. So I'm just having outline bits to change all the colours that I want. Finally, I'm sort of adding a similar sort of theme with the stripe down the front as what I had on the Ferrari. So I'm sort of creating a rectangular block, and then I'm going to set it backwards in the layers so that it sits under the other bits. So that's roughly kind of where I want it to be for now. So if we go back to trading paints, you can see on trading paints, you can actually see other people's paint jobs, and you can actually select these paint jobs and choose them as your own. But we're just going to pick the BMW, and we're going to upload the paint that we just saved. One thing to note is that you need to save it as either a Targa, like a TGA file, or I think you can also do PNG, but I've done a TGA file here. So once that's uploaded to Trading Paints, you need to actually obviously get Trading Paints, the piece of software, running again, and make sure that's running in the background. And then you should be able to then open iRacing, and it should download the paint job. So we can see here that paint job that we've just customized is shown on the BMW. It looks very bland at the moment. There's not really much to it, but I'm just sort of running it in game just to see what it looks like, how the different colors kind of work together, and kind of getting ideas about how to customize it. One thing in iRacing that you can really use is this custom camera control. So if you use Control F12, it opens the control, and then you can kind of pivot the camera to where you want to look at it. So I can see here we've got some strange white in the kind of vent area, and the actual shape of the strip that I've done down to the front doesn't really work either. Open your editor again, and you can see here with a wireframe on that there's quite a recess around that bit where I've got the white, and that's why it's kind of showing a bit funny. So I'm just going to try to tweak that to make it kind of fit more in line with where the wireframe is showing that it's going to be on the car, and then I'm going to have another look to see what it looks like. So you can be pretty crude with this. You just want to make your edit and then save it again as a tar file. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's a quick way of doing this, but I have to always upload it back to Trading Paints again, and then I actually then close the Trading Paints program and reopen it to make sure it downloads in the game. So here's what the end result of that edit was. It still looks pretty bad, so I'm going to actually jump back into the editor again, and this time I'm just going to remove the white strip completely from the front, and now it's looking a bit cleaner. The car is looking a bit bland, so I want to actually get some sponsorship logos on there. So one thing that I do is I go to Google Images, and I search for logos where the background is transparent, such as that, and these can basically be saved, and if you actually open them in your piece of software and just copy them in, because they've got a transparent background, you can just put them on the car. So another sped up video here. I'm just going to be copying different logos all over the place, roughly based on how I had it on the Ferrari. This can be a bit fiddly. I use the wireframe to sort of find out kind of roughly where it's going to sit on the car, whether it's going to be in a vent or kind of down a side, but it's just a case of just putting different bits and pieces on the car and then loading it up again just to see what it looks like. Once again, repeat the whole upload it to Trading Paints, reload Trading Paints, and then have a look at it in game. So it's coming along a lot better now. It's starting to look more like the Ferrari paint job. We've got a few stickers on there, a few sponsorships, and it's actually starting to look a lot nicer. So I've been jumping back and forth, tweaking this with different images and tweaking the position of it, and this is roughly kind of the finished paint job that I want. And I've added the white stripe back onto the front, and this time I've made it actually line up a bit better. So yeah, this is for now at least the kind of finished paint job. It doesn't look bad. The last thing I do when making a paint is actually run a bit of a replay, just so I can watch the paint and see if there are any bits and pieces that need tweaking. But ultimately I think that's probably near enough what we want it to be. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So that's the end of the video. I hope that you found that really useful, and I hope you look forward to seeing me racing the BMW in the future. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks everybody.